come with me around the farm and I'll show you how we care for, raise, and feed our runner ducks. The pests that we struggle with in the orchards, gardens, and pastures are the ducks' idea of good food. They turn windfalls, weeds, kitchen scraps, grasses, and bugs into beautiful, nutrient-dense eggs and rich organic fertiliser that support this garden. We can safely free range here because the whole place is fenced and the birds have good cover from an overstory of trees, bamboo groves, and even shrubs to take shelter under. They don't call them sitting ducks for nothing, so geese can offer protection. Having a drake helps alert to danger. Our drakes would accompany a duck to go lay an egg or stay with a broody hen, watching the sky, announcing people and predators. Roosters will also help to alert the ducks. I would always choose to safely free-range ducks because this is what a joyful life looks like for them. Maybe that could look like giving them supervised field trips while you're gardening or getting some sort of guardian. Or not. Ducks must have a good, safe shelter. If you'd like to watch Goose House, you can find out details for their requirements, as their needs are virtually the same. Plan to either build a secure run with half-inch hardware cloth to cover and buried around it, or if your place is secure enough for free ranging, plan to lock them up well before dusk and don't let them out till human activity is higher. We wait till about 8:30 a.m. much of the year. Our first generation of ducks laid all over the place, but the second is much more into having a dedicated nest in one corner. A low box or a leaning board with some hay is plenty. Are you in your nest? They're good layers of extraordinarily rich, large, golden eggs, and when we eat them, we're full for hours longer. They'll double the rise on a cake, and in many places they're prized for baking and can sell for double what a chicken egg does. We feed our ducks just about as we would chickens, so we start with organic chick feed, then soaked mash for the pullets, and then soaked or fermented layer mash once they're laying. We supplement with the addition of B vitamins as ducklings in the form of nutritional yeast added to the feed. We give access to grit till they're out foraging. They need it to digest. And because their eggshells are particularly thick, we make sure to supplement with oyster shell. We just lay down a path with it, and they get what they need. If we're catching rainwater for them, we toss in some oyster shell to infuse extra minerals. Runner ducks are enthusiastic foragers, particularly in an orchard where they can keep pests low and clean up windfalls. Ducks are amazing after a harvest to clean things up. So like chickens, you can direct edible scraps to them and help eliminate household food waste. They will forage a lot, so they don't eat too much grain. Or you could raise potatoes and other root veg to cook for them, which really becomes closed loop. For treats, they really like sunflower seeds, grapes, lettuce, kale, chopped up stems, cabbage leaves, bamboo shoots, comfrey leaves, and squash plants. Naughty duck. Duckweed off the pond is nutritious, and we appreciate the ducks tidying up and transferring its nutrients to the gardens. By adulthood, we feed once daily, just in the evening, right before bed, which helps us call them in off the pond and then herd them up to bed. Ducks clean their bills as they eat, in addition to drinking, so they must have clean water with their meals, and we keep it available all day. A bucket that they can fully immerse their heads in is essential. Once they move from the brooder to their house, we don't offer water at night unless it's a scorcher. We find they're okay without it, and their house just stays drier. We like to keep a rain barrel dripping to a wash tub that will move around from tree to tree as the ducks will flock to any water. After a day or two, we'll tip out the tub to rinse their manure into the earth around the tree, thus fertigating, irrigating plus fertilizing, a sort of mobile compost tea. Then we'll set the clean tub by a new tree or shrub, being aware of predator cover, as well as shade as needed. A pond is ideal, if not strictly necessary for ducks. They will adore it. If you haven't got a pond, the ducks will be happy with some kind of kiddie pool or wash tub. Something that they can climb right into and have a swim is ideal. It really is their most favorite thing to do. Our ducks are incredibly resilient to all sorts of temperatures. napping in the ideal temperate spot. In very cold weather, they might choose to stay in their house. You'll know because they'll go out, then lie down and tuck their feet up. We like to throw down hay over very icy snow. Be sure to break the ice over buckets often, and keep a piece of wood floating in it to prevent the steel bucket from cracking. Or we'll just have a hose from a rain barrel dripping a tiny bit. We're going to try floating a bottle of salt water and see how the bobbing action from that functions to keep the ice away. Our ducks don't mind snow when it isn't too icy or too deep. They're happy if it's raining. They're happy if it's hot. They're just plain happy. In a climate-disturbed future, they are resilient creatures to live with. Ducks are chatty creatures. They love to talk in the middle of the night. Every evening is a slumber party, so site your duck house away from bedrooms, if at all possible. The flock will holler at you before dinner time, and if you're late to let them out in the morning. Our duck friends seem to base these time frames on available light, so they may want to stay out late on bright sunny days and sleep in a little on gray ones. It's good to get to know danger calls, and if we see them run for cover, we get outside and clap loudly. Usually it's a small hawk trying it on. Because they love to swim, if you make sure they have access to ponds, pools, or tubs, they don't suffer many diseases or pests. Watch out for sore feet, ankles, or hips. We've used arnica creams and pills for pain with great effect. Do rest a duck with a friend in an enclosed spot if they've gotten injured. Make sure no one chases the ducks, as they can get injured and they do trip up on each other. We like to check our garden over now and then, make sure it's safe for sensitive feet. Another source of injury can be overmating, which becomes a problem if your ratio of drakes to ducks is too high. Runner ducks will fly if they must, right back over a fence if they've broken into the pond next door and the neighbor's dog chases them, which of course has never happened to us. If you want more ducks, and you're very lucky, your duck may go broody in the summertime.
What do you think, Mama Duck?
Watch our film Broody Hen to see what hatching ducklings might look like. We've not tried this with a duck mama yet, only a chicken. Do sign up to the newsletter if you'd like to hear how brooding ducklings goes next summer. We may be giving it a try. Our experience is with raising ducks that were incubated for 28 days, and we received them at a day old. Ducklings are much hardier than chicks and only require a regular 60-watt light bulb. Just see that their bedding, we use sawdust pellets with some soft shavings, is kept topped up with a dry layer. That's harder than it sounds. Keep the light down one end so they can move away from the heat as needed. If they're crushing each other to cuddle, they may be too cold. Bring the lamp closer. See that it is tied securely so as to prevent disasters, and secure the space against pets as well. We like to make sure our ducklings get their first swim at 3 days old. It triggers their oil glands to get rolling earlier, about 3 weeks of age. Until then, they need a thorough towel dry and warmth. Mama duck would do that for them, so if you have a broody, you're off the hook. To keep ducklings out of their drinking water, we put in large pebbles or edible plants, but we like to make sure that they do get a daily bath. If you have older ducks, particularly a mature drake, plan to separate the flocks till they're older, as aggressive behavior is common. We waited 3 months and kept those ducklings on the patio, which was adorable. Like chickens, your hatch rate is likely to give you half and half males to females. Selling pairs or trios of drakes is a great option. They'll make a sweet flock of slug catchers, weed eaters, compost producers, and general darling companions to someone with the space. Of course, they do make excellent food if you can learn the skills and have the heart. In an uncertain future, this is something we may consider, but as our ducks live for many years, we don't often face this problem/opportunity, and the runner duck breed is generally raised as layers. They don't like to get separated from each other, preferring to stay as a group generally. Plan to keep at least 2. Like geese and goats, duck poop won't burn plants the way high nitrogen chicken manure does, so we safely apply the deep litter around plants that we won't be immediately consuming. The ducks do well on a rather dry deep litter, favoring pet-safe sawdust pellets, sawdust, and soft shavings. If what you want at the end is compost, adding bedding to the chicken run is the fastest and easiest, but we often just use it as is after composting within the house for a few months, as a rich woody mulch under wood chip from orchard prunings all around the perennials. We like that they don't dig. They just root or noodle and provide a lot of aeration. While their feet can flatten delicate plants, they do little damage except to seedlings,
or if you leave them too long unsupervised and they move from slugs to greens.
We like to run our ducks in a garden bed from time to time to clear up pests. Because they're so shy, you can easily herd them, or else firmly cover any sensitive crops. Since slugs are territorial, you may get a good length of time without any in that particular bed. It's so nice to be able to reduce slugs without harming any of their wild predators that may react to even gentle pesticides. Running ducks in pastures after sheep or goats significantly reduces the pest cycle that causes worms in herds. We only worm our animals with herbs and spices so that there's no harm to important bugs and microbes. Running the ducks in our pasture system creates a whole other level of health. The ducks will replace their feathers from their second late summer annually, ceasing laying to molt. They may or may not resume laying after that. Ours often don't, as the light is low. We don't supplement with light, though. Hard-working, laying bodies deserve a rest.
Runner ducks make our tiny farm far more resilient to the challenges of these changing times. With some planning, we could transition to an increasingly relocalized, closed-loop system, which seems to me to be the definition of a regenerative future. And besides all that, life with ducks is such a happy life. Come on, Yara.